Hi students, welcome to Western STEM Academy. So today we are going to be doing a crash course in summary writing. So you notice I said a crash course, so let's get into it. First things first, what is a summary, right? So a summary is a shortened version of the original passage. So it's a shortened version of the original passage. However, we have to ensure that all our vital information is still in there. Including all essential information. It's essentially reporting what was said in a passage in your own words, right? So you're condensing an entire passage or paragraph or whatever it is you're summarizing in your own words without adding your own bias or judgment toward it. So that's very important. So you are reporting what was said in your own words without bias or judgment. And what do you think are some good characteristics of good summarizing, right? So a good summary has some of the following. Characteristics of a good summary. Firstly, you must be able to understand it without reading the original passage. So you have to be able to understand it without the reference to the original passage. So must be understood without knowledge of the original passage. Knowledge of the original. And what this simply means is that whoever is reading your summary must be able to get what the writer was trying to get across in the original passage without having read the original passage, right? It must also be an accurate representation or reproduction of the original. And what this is simply saying is that you don't want to have your opinions and your biases and your own ideas be reflected in the summary, because it's not your passage. You're just simply reporting what was said in the original passage. It must also be brief. This is very important. You don't need any unnecessary details in the summary. It has to be brief. It cannot be the same length as the original passage, right? And it must also be unified. Unified means that it needs to flow. You cannot make it seem like you were just picking random things from random places, putting them together. It needs to flow, alright? And now we're going to go on to some techniques. Let me just get this to erase the board. We're going to go on to some techniques in summary writing. So I hope you guys had all this down because I'm erasing it now. Alright, so techniques in summary writing, right? And our first technique is going to be paraphrasing. Do we all know what paraphrasing is?
No, miss.
So paraphrasing simply means to correctly express another person's ideas in your own words, right? So you're expressing someone else's ideas in your own words. So for example, if I say flu symptoms include nasal congestions and high fever, right? And I ask you to paraphrase it. What you could say is that stuffy nose and high temperatures are symptoms of the flu. And why do we think that paraphrasing is important? Well, firstly, it helps us to understand the original passage. So when we put it into our own words, it helps us to understand it better. It helps us to grasp the central points or main ideas. And it helps us to write summaries that are brief and to the point, right? So you don't want your summaries to be long and filled with unnecessary details. So it helps us to write summaries that are brief, in our own words, and to the point. Alright guys, I hope we're getting it so far.
Yes.
So in paraphrasing, there are a couple steps that you want to remember. So step one, you want to read carefully. So one, read the passage carefully. Two, you want to, but once you read it carefully, I hope you guys know that you need to understand what it is saying. You want to consider the article as an entire thing and not just several isolated sentences. So consider the passage as a whole. Alright guys? So we're reading carefully and understanding, and we're considering the passage as a whole. So another technique in summary writing is, hold on, let me get my duster. Hold please, I'm back. So another technique in summary writing is to grasp the central idea. So you want to grasp the main idea in the passage. And in order to do this, we read and we understand to ensure that we are not grasping all the unnecessary details. We're selecting what the writer is saying. And a way to grasp the main idea is to ask these questions. What is the writer talking about? What or who is the writer talking about? Or is the passage about? We can also ask, why did the writer write this passage, right? So these are just some questions that can help you to grasp the main idea. You also